Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to begin by saying Barak Atah, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah, HaKadosh, double honors to the apostles and elders of great millstone, and salutations to the sincere Akim that pushed this truth with all due diligence and sincerity. I recommend Akim watch this video. It's on the Channel 4 News. Money expert Martin Lewis explains the mortgage crisis. Martin Lewis, at the end of the day, only has a certain level of that he goes into, but he still really and truly is a good informative source of news in regards to everything happening within the financial service sector in the UK. Now, he goes into the current mortgage crisis whereby the Bank of England in the UK, the equivalent here for the central bank in America, has increased their base rate to 5%, meaning that when they then lend to commercial banks, those banks are then going to leverage their own interest rates on top of that and then lend that out to the public, the people. So at the end of the day, the consumer is the one that takes the hit of the increased rates, because the retail banks and institutions, your Lloyds, your HSBCs, your NatWests of the world, are not going to take the hit from the Bank of England's increased rate, because they have to pay money back to the central bank with interest. They're going to pass that interest on to who? The consumer, man, the people. And it's all with the goal of bringing down this current economic system, man, of crashing the financial system that we currently have in place, so they can replace it with the CBDC, you know? And ultimately, man, we're not far. We are not far at all, man. Just a second. Going in. So it says here in the book of Ecclesiastes, the 12th chapter, and I'm going to start really and truly from verse 1. Remember now thy Creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. There is no pleasure left in this society. This place has been wrung dry, man. Use the likeness of a towel literally being squeezed dry, man, of all of the water within it, to the point where literally there's absolutely no moisture left in it and still is being wrung. That's what's happening within the society. Everything, yeah, is being squeezed out of these people in the society that we live in, man. They're being taken for absolutely everything that they've got. And when the Bank of England increases base rates, it's ultimately to make lending more expensive. So anybody with a mortgage, sizable loan out there that's on a variable rate term, or when they come to the end of their fixed rate term, ultimately end up having to pay more to service their debts. And as a result of that, they don't have the available the disposable income is the correct term, to then go out into the economy and spend on other things that they do, like leisure activities, eating out at restaurants, additional travel, holidays, all of that kind of stuff. And so it cools down the inflation by pretty much reducing the amount of money that you've got purchasing goods, because people are, rather than throwing their money out onto goods and services, using it to pretty much survive and pay essentials. And it cools down the spending within the economy and stops basically the amount of money traveling through the economy, the velocity of money in the economy at any one time. This place is completely through, man. There ain't no enjoyment out here. These people literally live to work for Esau. They're permanent slaves, and that's what this man wants, man. He wants a bunch of zombie slaves. They're already at that state, but now this man has taken away all the little goodies that they once had, man. The 2 holidays a year, the nice house and the Kia and all of that good shit. You know, it's ironic because brothers got decent cribs and vehicles because the Lord's watching over us. But a lot of these people out here over leverage themselves, man, because they might have got a promotion and thought, fuck it, I want to get the bigger with the 4x4, with the leather interior seats and the fancy interior lighting and all the rest of it, you know, because they might have got enough to buy a flat, but in their pride decided that they were going to get themselves a semi-detached house because they feel like they deserve better, and they were going to plan 10 years ahead for the 2 babies that they had in their mind to have with their partner and all the rest of it. That's the way these people operate, man. This is a debt-based system where people pretty much, man, spend today and think about it tomorrow, while the Heavenly Father is bringing it to them, man, through the hands of this wicked devil, Esau Edom. While the sun or the light or the moon or the stars be not darkened, or the clouds return after the rain, in the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grandest cease because they are few. be, cease because they are few, and those that look out the windows be darkened. Pretty much a situation where hey, there ain't no money out there in the economy. There ain't no jobs for the people, man. You know, the money's tight. Ain't much resources out there. You're gonna start seeing the plug being pulled on the food supplies and uh, the necessities that these people need to live. You know, they talk a lot about socio-economic inclusion in this society and those below the poverty line. Hey, the basic needs for human survival are about to be taken away from these people. That's why you're going to see Second Ezra, the 15th chapter, come to fruition real quick in these last days, especially in this filthy, and especially in Babylon, of course, America. But even here in London, in the UK, where people don't like to riot because these people are extremely passive, the base rate is 5%. The highest has been for a good while, man. You know, a real good while, going back to 2008 and even further before that in the 1900s, man. And still, you got it to where these people are out here docile. And the difference between now and the 1900s as well is that house prices were a lot cheaper back then. So people weren't taking out 200k loans for a two-bedroom flat back in 1990, back in the early 1990s, man. So even though at that point in time, interest rates rose up to levels similar to where they are now, about 5% onwards, most people didn't have the actual sizable, I forget the technical term, but basically they didn't have the actual sizable debt principal. That's it. They didn't have the principal debt that they've got now, man. So that they were able to pretty much service that debt, even though it was a significant spike in comparison to what they were used to. They didn't have as much borrowing to service as they do now. In the time that we're living now, people are maxed out on credit, man. You speak to the average person out here, they've got 2 credit cards, they're taking out a third to do a balance transfer to keep themselves within their limit, because these people have no self-control, man. They're literally trying to keep up with the Joneses, using Instagram, TikTok and Snapchat all the time, trying to look like they're living their best life, but they're empty inside. All these people are waiting for ultimately is for the Lord to destroy them, man. And that's why, hey, man, literally, this place is a ticking time bomb away from destruction. Yeah, and this man is going to bring that chip out, man. At this point in time, the chip is the only thing that can save this society, because this is a manufactured crash. In the days when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grandest cease because they are few, and those that look out the windows be darkened, and the doors shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low. Now, the reason I recommend that brothers watch this video, and there's a couple other videos. Feel free to leave a comment in the comment section if anything, and I'll link you into some good videos to watch in the financial crisis. But the average flexible variable rate, yeah, is gonna go up by about £40 a month on average, and that's per every 100k that someone's borrowed. So let's just say you got somebody out there with a 300k mortgage, right? Just, hypothetically speaking, like the average is about 250k for the average flat, but let's just say it's 300k, right, in London. Now, for easy maths, 4 times 3 is 120. The average mortgage is going to go up by £120 a month. If you take that across a year for a 300k mortgage, that's an extra £1,200 of disposable income that they've got to find from somewhere. The average salary in the UK is 27k. 27 grand, and salaries ain't going up as fast as inflation is. Inflation, the mainstream figure is still at 8.7%. Can you see where this is going? Can you see where this is going? They're telling people to get ready to start paying interest only, where they're not going to be paying any capital. So when they pay the interest off, what they're going to do is pretty much slap the capital that they didn't pay back onto a shorter term. And then ultimately they're going to have a shorter term to pay a higher amount. So they're going to have a shorter term to pay a higher amount of capital with the same interest rate. Because these people are not going to end up in better positions or better jobs. They're literally just trying to kick the can down the road. This is the society that we live in, man. A society where ultimately, man, it's a ticking debt time bomb where people are not ready for what's about to come. Renters also are having to suffer because ultimately their landlords are selling properties because they just can't afford to maintain them, man. Because of the fact that at the end of the day, they might have 2, 3, 4 properties, and every single one of them, unless they pay the mortgage off, is going up by about a grand and some change. So you gotta understand, a lot of people are really, really going through it, man. Tight times, and this is all being done by design to slow down people's spending power and the actual amount of money within the economy, because Esau Edom is doing this to really and truly, man, keep people strapped and dependent. They're advertising it like they're doing it in the spirit of slowing the spending of slowing public spending to make sure that the economy cools down and people are not out there spending money on things that they ought not, so that the price of food can come down. People are not going to be taking as much holidays, so um, because they're not purchasing as much packages and summer holidays in the spirit of what normally goes down during summer, going to the Ibizas, the Greases of the world, things are also going to cool down in that sense, and pretty much fuel and all of that is going to supposedly be influenced to drop in price off the back of it. But we in the spirit know, because we're not ignorant of Satan's devices, that this is a purposeful ploy to destroy the current economy and to bring in the RFID, the Revelations 13 to 16, man. Because this man's agenda is to make sure that everyone, small or great, rich or poor, free or bond, receives the mark, man, of the beast in his right hand or his forehead. Revelations 13 and 16. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. And that no man, meaning absolutely no one, might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Meaning that unless you got that mark, that MOTB, you're not going to be able to transact in this man's society. That is going to be the saving grace that he pushes out, man. The MOTB is the new way for you to transact and get away from the fiat-based currency that's eroded away due to inflation. This whole inflationary crisis is set up, man. You got Rishi Sunak basically playing that controlled opposition like he's for the people. You got Keir Starmer, so you got Rishi Sunak pretending to be a steward for the people. You got his controlled opposition, Keir Starmer, from the Labour Party, man. And Labour ain't won an election in ages anyway, man. And these so-called democratic elections ain't even democratic anyway, because ultimately speaking, man, what was the real last? When Liz Truss got into power, man, how did she get into power? Did the UK people vote for her? Look at the way Rishi Sunak got into power, man. But they're calling for a general election where people are going to vote. And even in that, man, it's all folly and bullshit, man. In America, you had all sorts of voters fraud with the latest election with what's this called? My man Biden getting into power. You gotta understand that it's all smoke and mirrors. It's all lies, man. Owning a mortgage, you don't even having a mortgage, you don't even technically own that property, because you don't own the title of that property in a login at all. Now, let's say, for example, you even get a car fine, for example, right? Don't pay your car fine, ignore it, leave that for a couple of years. When the bailiffs decide to come, if they can't take what's worth the fact that the fee from your house is getting repossessed. You can't turn around and say, even if you paid off the whole mortgage, that it's your property and you own the right to that, because you don't own shit. Like a court can legally, even if you paid your mortgage off, take the right from the property away from you, because technically speaking, you don't own the land that the property is based on. You don't own the title of a login. You don't own the actual physical land. You might have paid for the bricks and mortar, but a court can actually even reverse that and still not even have to give you your money back if they feel like you're owing something. Which shows you that in this society, we don't own shit. We own absolutely nothing. The scripture says in Haggai 1 and 6, ye have sown so much and bring in little. Ye eat, but you have not enough. Ye drink, but you are not filled with drink. Ye clothe you, but there is none warm. And he that earneth wages to put it into a bag with holes. Meaning that ultimately, man, there's always something to pay. There's always some sort of debt you got to keep up with. And that's why Yahweh Shai warned the disciples, and he said, man, they pretty much roughly... Sorry, excuse me. He said, roughly paraphrasing, don't worry about the riches on earth, man. Worry about where moth and rust does corrupt and thieves break through and steal. Labor for the riches in heaven, man, where neither moth nor rust does corrupt, where neither thieves can break through or steal, man. For where your mind is, for where your heart is, there will your treasure be also, man. Focus. We're nearly at the end of this thing. And at the end of the day, man, I say it to myself before anyone. Yeah, we need to make this money to survive, but at the end of the day, There's more important things, man. The Lord is about to give us a kingdom that's never gonna fade away, where gold is gonna be a stone, you know, man, where we're gonna be perpetually righteous, man. Riches profit not in the day of wrath, like I said in one of my previous videos. And all of these proud people, these homeowners, I know some silly black women that went and got themselves fresh mortgages, and now they're suffering because they're simple as hell and have no fucking clue what's going on. The Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Shem Yahweh Shai, Shem Kadash, is going to bring these people to their knees, and they're going to run to Esau for the chip. But the elect, the hopeful elect, man, the Lord's got us thinking right, man. And Lord willing, Yahweh, Shem Yahweh Shai, Ra'azah, man, we're going to make the right decisions and endure to the end. Shalom, Makyam. Check out the video if you get a second. Shalom.